What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another episode of Flex, Rocks and Rollovers. Today we are in Dayton, Tennessee for my first ever We Rock competition. Really cool course right in front of us, and look who I found. Alex Watkins, man. How are you doing, my friend?
Good, man. What's going on?
What are you doing here?
We got in the Sportsman A class to try to give it a whirl of our first We Rock, and got a new rig to show you, and we'll check it out. It's a little bit different than the Toyota that we ran at Rain and Rocks. But,
slightly different rig. Let's get straight to it. Let's turn you guys around and show you what he brought out. Man, that thing sort of reminds me on Jackson's, but not really. Super cool. Like, Jackson's was like the first one I've seen ever like that was built to that extent.
Yeah, so this is a Pruitt's chassis. It's got a ton, so 60s front and rear, for a front and rear steer. A little 1.6 out of the tracker with a turbo on propane. Nothing crazy. Probably like, you know, 100 horsepower.
Which is so crazy if you think about like the rigs that we're used to. Like 100 horsepower wouldn't get you up a dirt road.
Yeah,
like.
It's definitely a little bit of a learning curve, because, like, you know, coming from a 6.0 LS motor, my Toyota had plenty of power and plenty of gear, and this one has a lot of gear and you know, built transfer case with gearing in it. But the normal BFG 42s and 20-inch trail readies, and you know, that's what it takes to make it up all this crazy stuff.
Winning combo right there. What year is it? Let's start super basic. So it's a Suzuki Samurai. What year do we know? Like
the derivative of this would be a Samurai non-tin top, just a convertible. It's their mid 80s chassis is what this tub would be. The hood's also a cut down hood from a Samurai. It's, you know, brought in so to clear tires. It's back half, front half. Only has about 3 or 4 foot of stock frame left.
Oh, but it does have some stock frame back in there.
Yeah, it does have a little stock frame. That's how you can keep the tub mounted pretty easy and not have to, you know, start over with a complete chassis.
Yeah.
PSC kind of style, you know, front and rear steer, trail gear front ram. It's a 60 front, Dana 60 front, normal brakes, high steer, 538 gears, 4-linked. The rear is actually a Super Duty 60, like the 05 ups. Both the front and rear end have the 35 spline Yukon with super joints.
Which is, with that weight, the horsepower of this rig, probably the most indestructible axle ever.
See, you don't have a lot of power to break stuff, and whenever you do, you just beef that little part up that you can. It weighs right around 3,200 is what
30. That would have been my next question. 3,200 pounds on this thing.
Yeah, it's pretty light. I went up from 39s to 42s, so that gained around 50 to 60 pounds per corner. Okay. We're going to put the front end on a little bit of a diet and do aluminum hubs and lightweight brakes and everything in the front, try to get the weight back down some. Okay. Rear's already got the lightweight brakes set up with the wheel woods, coilovers front and rear, all rad flow stuff.
How, like, what size coilovers are you running?
It's all 2.0 rad flows. Whizzing that at Didi's Big Block Shop, did some tuning on them at AOP. Nice. Limit straps all 4 corners, no sway bars or anything. Rear's really simple, just a couple bars, your 4 links, your brakes, and your hydro.
Propane powered, I see too.
Yeah, it's propane, so get a little bit more power out of that, you know. Oh, yeah? Small 1.6 liter.
Okay.
But chase lights, you know, so you can see, so we don't have no brake lights. It's got a light bar, it's got rock lights, you know, because we wheel all the time basically. Right. And under the lights here, you know, I'll use these rock lights to my advantage, which I haven't seen anybody else run rock lights last night.
That's the thing. Like, so the whole, you see actually that rack back there is the course, and it goes way back, and they're gonna actually run it at night tonight. So
yeah, we got 4 courses, per class, and so we're running all the C courses, and we got 3 more to do tonight, and hopefully we place good. We were 55 points ahead of our competitor as of last night, so we got a good lead.
Awesome. With a brand new rig, man, or brand new to you, you know.
Yeah,
like
this is like my 4th or 5th ride on it. Yeah. After the 3rd, I did a revision on a bunch of stuff. Like I said, we did a billet transfer case housing, rebuilt the trans, new bearings and stuff. The trans locked up on me. and then we rebuilt the top end of the motor, did a new cam, rockers, valve train, that kind of stuff. Try to get as much power as we could out of this, since we're, you know, scrounging for all the power we can get.
Right.
So.
Yeah, you mentioned it earlier, talking about steering or something. Like if something like robs you, let it be 10 horsepower. That's huge.
5 horsepower is a lot out of 100. You know, on an LS motor where you've got at least 200, you'll never think or see about it. You know, you put a cam in and get that 50 horse back pretty easy. A cam in this doesn't add very much, but your low end that you're crawling that you need.
But it does have a turbo, you said, right?
Yeah, so it's got
when does it spool up? Like
it does really, it spools really fast.
It's a tiny thing.
It's a tiny turbo. It's actually like a stock Volkswagen style turbo.
Okay.
It's like a T25, or it's like a KO3 actually now. We went smaller, so it'll spool basically instantly.
Right.
Low boost, so we don't have to do, you know, a built motor. It's like sub 7 PSI, but it's the power when we need it. It pulls, you know, first and second real good if we need, you know, that low end or a little bit of wheel speed.
Right.
And
it's a manual, right?
Yeah. So it is a 5-speed Samurai transfer case. That is a disadvantage on some of the We Rock stuff where they do count your backups, but they're pretty lenient on like the clutch dumps and stuff, or the transition between your gas and brake, you know, because they know there's going to be somewhat of a roll. As long as it's not an intentional, you know, few feet back, they're okay with it.
So they're not too crazy about, like, if you need to like back up a tiny bit and like bump something, is that a backup in that case?
So if you make forward progress and you bump something and you go back while you have the clutch in, they don't count that as a backup.
Okay.
We are actually one of 2 running the whole competition that are manual. Everybody else is automatic.
Yeah, you would figure out here.
Yeah,
I mean,
that you need it, but for our trail riding stuff we do, that the big clutch dumps, you know, we need it on this little horsepower because we need to be able to rev it up, get it in boost, dump the clutch, and get that little bit of wheel speed to get us over, you know, the usual East Coast slick rock.
That would have been my next question, man. We wheel in the same places, and I have to say, like, I'm always like thinking of more horsepower and more wheel speed, and like you now went to like full on crawling mode, which I love, but I like, how is it in southeastern terrain so far?
It's tricky. You definitely have to, you know, get, like I said, a little wheel speed on some stuff, but the lightweight makes up for it because it wants to float across a lot of stuff. You know, the superior traction of these BFGs helps a lot too. My last rig ran these, it was great. It was 5,000 pound rig, and it was also a very long wheelbase. We shortened up on this rig and went to a 115 and you know, back to the same 42, but it kind of wants to float and pick up over a lot more stuff, being a lot lighter, so it helps, you know, you're not trying to lug around a lot of weight, because the power to weight ratio is a lot closer. You know, if you have 250 horsepower out of LS, a stock LS, and you're 5,000 or 6,000 pounds, you know, when you bump down to maybe 100 horsepower and you're sub 3,000 pounds, it's close to what the same weight ratio is. So it doesn't seem like a lot, you know, when you say it, but when you're out on the course or just on the trail, you know, it performs just as well. And you know, this past weekend we went trail riding and proved that point with a couple other guys that, you know, you don't have to have big horsepower or you know, a fast rig or anything, or huge tires or anything.
Right.
But you know, we do run, you know, a pretty big tire for a Samurai.
Yeah. So AOP still is wheelable.
Oh yeah, we actually wheeled AOP last weekend and it did great. It was very slick, but so we definitely got denied on Little Caesars when we pulled up on it. But it was worth a shot. So I'm loving the rig, man. It's
a really cool thing. I love it. Got doors in it, so easy in and out, which like when you go buggy, that's,
I hate door bars and have to climb in and out. That's why I would never do a fixed door. It's actually like a razor style door with the mounts and then the slam latches, and like I said, it's survived a pretty good couple of beatings so far, and I've never had an issue with it. You know, the chassis builder did a real good job on, you know, starting, and we were just trying to refine everything.
Right, so you, just to make that clear, you bought the rig and then did a bunch of modifications to it, but like it's a bought chassis from, what's the guy
Pruitt.
called?
Yeah, so it's Austin Pruitt at Pruitt's Off-Road. He actually builds razors and you know, razor chassis, and he built a few Samurais.
This is like the original razor.
Yeah, exactly. And he's built a few Samurais, and he's got another one in the works, but I snagged this one up basically after they quit wheeling it, and another guy bought it, ran it a couple times. I snagged it up as soon as I could. I wanted to have a change. Actually, I'm glad I passed up on the last one. I almost bought one, and I actually messaged a couple different people on selling the rigs, and the other guy was hesitant and it let this guy slip in, and I'm so much happier I got this rig just because of the rear steer and stuff, because I would have been adding that
Oh,
anyways.
the other one would not have had rear steer?
Correct. It was a Samurai, but it was non-rear steer.
Right.
I painted this chassis back when he built this.
Well, yeah, you got
had a
a
little
paint
bit
and
of
body shop, so that's definitely
sentimental
a treat.
value there, and I like to keep stuff shiny, even though we beat the crap out of it on the trail, you know.
Yeah,
So.
with a paint and body shop, that makes all the sense in the world, man.
Oh, yeah.
Dude, I definitely love it. I think it's awesome. It's definitely, I don't know, I don't want to say a step up from the Toyota, but it's like a step sideways in another awesome direction. Like
It's definitely out of the box for what I'm used to. You know, I run Razors. I've ran 2 other previous Toyotas, and this is a by far more capable rig. Don't get me wrong, the Toyota does great, and but this is just like leaps and bounds ahead, you know, for what we were usually, you know, used to. And I can't wait to, you know, get it out on either a next Rain or Rocks or a 24-hour hell and back. And
we'll definitely, I'm sure we'll see you again, man. We'll definitely see you again in some future videos, man. I'm looking forward to it. But for now, let's get this WeWork thing behind us and kick some butt.
We got a couple more to do, so.
All right, man. Good luck.
Appreciate you.